Hello and welcome back to Matte's Tottenham blog and to another episode of Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk. Today I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Sim and Ben from WeAreTottenhamTV. How are you getting on, guys?
All good, especially after that 5-2 win on the weekend. Sonny Delight hat-trick, so you know what I mean. All happy smiles and Gareth Bale coming home as well.
Yeah, it's good to be on, man. Just having us on.
Thank you. It's good. A big change of mood around the Tottenham fan base for certain after what was a disappointing start to the season. Anyway, today we're going to be talking a bit about Jesse Lingard and Dele Alli and the rumours surrounding the two of them. I think the reactions there says a lot from what I hear about the two of you. We of course discussing Gareth Bale, Sergio Reguilon, and a few other things as well today. But before we get started into that, guys, of course, our game against Leyton Orient tonight in a lot of doubt. I think by the time this goes out, we'll know for sure. But at the time of recording, we're being told the game is postponed, but we have no confirmation. That's what you think about that?
I mean, I think it's a bit of a joke the way it's been handled publicly. I think it's been pretty common knowledge to everyone since yesterday that it's not going to be going ahead. That's what all the reliable outlets are reporting. So, I mean, they need to communicate this with fans a lot quicker and a lot better. But that's just my opinion.
Well, apparently the delay has been because they're not sure if the game is going to be postponed or if it's going to be called off and Tottenham given the win. And Leyton Orient are currently talking to the EFL.
Yeah, but at least say the game's not going ahead tonight. You know?
Yeah, they should confirm it. They should confirm. There should be better communication for sure. I agree with you. But that's the delay. I mean, the game was supposed to kick off in a few hours, so I'm not really sure. Like, it's pretty mental. They haven't made a statement yet on the game. And but the good thing is apparently any finance is lost by Leyton Orient. Apparently, Tottenham have agreed to cover the cost, which is good on their part. And I think, especially for a club of Leyton Orient standard, who are definitely struggling right now, it's a good gesture from Tottenham.
Yeah, and also the shirts were going to be auctioned off to go to Justin Edinburgh Fund as well. So it's also great work from Tottenham Hotspur, but it just needs to be communicated a bit better, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's not the only coronavirus setback we've had today. I'm sure you've seen Boris Johnson has said fans won't be allowed back into the grounds from the 1st of October. I know the two of you, big part of your channel is going to those games. So what do you think about that as well?
I mean, obviously it's upsetting that we won't be going. I genuinely think there'll be no fans in stadiums this whole season. And I think I've been saying that all along. So I thought October was always
optimistic.
Yeah, a bit optimistic. So I think it's pretty expected. It's just a bit upsetting to have it, confirmed on paper.
Especially, with the signing of Gareth Bale coming in the door, you really want a packed house for his return and his, when his debut comes along, or if he scores a win or something like that. So it's a massive shame on that part that we're getting such an iconic signing and there's going to be no fans to really appreciate it. But hopefully he'll feel the love from everyone in their homes. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah, as I say, it's really disappointing. I think, the Bale thing especially would have been absolutely exceptional to have him come back in front of a packed crowd at the stadium. But I know there's a few encouraging things in the last couple of weeks with the EFL holding pilot events for their fans to be let back in there. But of course, this big setback now, it doesn't look like we'll get them in. But anyway, to dive down to business, I'm sure I already know what we're going to hear from you about this. But Jesse Lingard to Tottenham, we're hearing from Fabrizio Romano in the last couple of days that Tottenham have identified him as a replacement for Dele Alli if he does leave. I think PSG, the main suitors for him this year. I think the talk in the last couple of hours from a few different sorts, Jonathan Veal said it very early on in the saga that Tottenham aren't looking to let Dele Alli go and certainly not looking to bring Jesse Lingard in. But what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, no, just no. Just please, no, anyone. But honestly, I saw a tweet from someone the other day saying, even if we sell Dele, I'd rather not replace him than bring in Jesse Lingard. And I'm very much in that field. I read at the time saying Tottenham view Jesse Lingard as a long-term replacement for Dele Alli. I'm thinking, Lingard's 3 years older than Dele. What are you talking about long-term replacement? But yeah, no, I really don't want this to happen. I just read about an hour ago that Charlie Eccleshare, who's part of the Athletic, said that there's no truth in the move. So that's good news for me personally. I think Lingard's been painfully average for a long time now, so I really do not want him anywhere near this team.
The only 6 months he did have was under Jose.
Yeah,
that's very true. It's a good return.
What I must say about Jesse, one good thing about him is he does seem to make a difference in cup finals and things like that. The amount of goals he scored at Wembley, Man United, he kind of makes a difference there. But apart from that, he's been so off the boil now. You think Dele's dropped off a cliff. He's fallen into the depths of hell by his form, Jesse Lingard. So I really do not want him in the team at all.
Nah, get out of here. Who wants Jesse Lingard? Come on, we just signed Gareth Bale, then we're going to go for Jesse Lingard.
Come on. You think Dele's a party boy? You ain't seen nothing there with Jesse Lingard with his antics. And I cringe whenever I see him do. He's just a bit of an immature person as well. For me, I don't really want him. I don't think he's the kind of person I want at Spurs.
100%.
And I think he's not good. If he was good, it's one thing, but he's not even good, so not for me.
Yeah, so I'd definitely be in the same mindset as he. I think a lot of people have been saying, you need to think about how good he was under Jose Mourinho, and I've thought about it, and I still don't want him because he's not a good influence in the dressing room first and foremost, but as well on the pitch. I just don't see what he would bring to us. But it's concerning for me anyway, these rumours about Dele Alli. I know the postponement or cancellation of tonight's game could have a big bearing on that, because Jose Mourinho said he would more than likely feature against Leyton Orient tonight. But been taken off at half-time against Everton, didn't travel to Bulgaria, and then the big shock that he wasn't even in the squad for the game against Southampton. So do you think he still has a future at Spurs?
Yeah, I think, look, he's got a future. Everyone knows Dele Alli's qualities. I think, personally, what would I sell him? Would I keep him? I think a loan move would actually do him really well, because I think he needs a bit of a break away from Tottenham. I think he needs to go refresh himself, surround himself with new people, a new manager where he really has to buckle down to get some minutes. So I think a loan move could actually do well for him. But having said that, if we were to get like 40, 50 million for him, I don't think it's something that we can sniff at, because we're desperately in need for a centre-back. And if we can spend that kind of money on a centre-back, then Jose was talking about the balance of the squad, and that really does balance out our squad, because our centre-back, we're desperate need for a centre-back right now. So if you're asking me, would I swap Dele Alli for a world-class centre-back? The answer would be yes, I'm afraid.
I have a feeling that the main reason Daniel Levy is more looking for a loan than, because apparently the reports are Mourinho wants him to go, but Levy will kind of wants him to stick around or go out on loan. I have a feeling the loan deal is because if he does go out on loan and kind of smash it out at PSG, his value like doubles. Yeah. So I think that's a big reason why a loan deal could definitely suit him and suit us as well. I kind of feel like under Mourinho, I don't know, I feel like his place in the team, especially with Bale coming in, he's kind of the odd one out now, where he doesn't have a specific position. I feel like his free role in the centre doesn't really suit well with Mourinho, especially with the new players coming in, especially if we're going to play 4-3-3 with like Lo Celso and Ndombele, then it's hard to find a place for him.
Yeah, but also like Jose sets up his teams to whoever we're playing against. So I'm sure if Dele is in the squad and he is not sold,
it's a good option to have.
Look, I'm sure he'll still see a lot of minutes. Like, there's no two ways about it. It's just that. Look, it's evident what Dele Alli's been through the last 2-3 years. I mean, he's living off those first 2 seasons at Spurs. He needs to buckle down and really like get to grips with what's going on at the moment, because he's kind of just withering away. Everyone knows what quality he has. He just needs to show it on a consistent basis.
The most worrying thing for me is like Mourinho kind of had that reinvigoration in him. He went up in the form. He knuckled down and he started performing, and then all of a sudden it's gone back down again. So whether he's like stopped listening to what Mourinho's got to say, or is not translating again, that seems to be a big issue, because there's one thing getting that motivation back, but losing it again is a big problem.
Yeah.
And there's something wrong with him. He can't keep it up at the moment, and this up and down form is no good for anyone. It must be really making Mourinho tear his hair out at the moment, trying to get Dele to play at his best, and it must be very frustrating. So I can kind of see why the rumours are there. And I think, as my brother said, if we were to swap him for a world-class centre-back, I think we've got more than enough quality in the squad to kind of compensate for that, and I think it'll benefit us.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a big part of Dele Alli and why he's so inconsistent, his form drops, it comes down to a lot of complacency. Early on obviously under Pochettino, he was absolutely exceptional, and then his form did start to slip. And we saw Pochettino very reluctant to actually drop him from the team. And I think that sort of security in the side made Dele Alli maybe not think his performances were better than they were, but I think he didn't feel as though he had to improve those performances. And this is probably the first time in his Tottenham career where Jose Mourinho has dropped him for a few games. And of course, we don't know if there is something more going on behind the scenes. But if it is because of those performances, I think you would have to criticise Ali if his first response to being dropped is wanting to leave. But as you say, in terms of system, there's not much chance for him to get into that team. It's looking like it's going to be a 4-3-3. I think that Kane and Son link up on Sunday against Southampton was absolutely exceptional. And there's no way we can just let that go. We have to kind of keep working on that. And I know we won't come up against teams who play as high line as Southampton do, but I think for sure we need to kind of feed off what Kane and Son are getting to do together now. And it just doesn't seem as though Ali needs to fit into that, and whether or not he will be willing to adapt his game if he's going to become a deeper line midfielder or pushing onto more advanced positions. It's unlikely at the moment that he can do that, because he's been the same player for his entire career. And it'll be upsetting, of course, if he does go. I think the main reason personally that I want to see him stay, it's a lot more down to sentimentality than actual logic. I think he's a fan favourite for quite a while. We all love him. But in terms of footballing at the moment, as you say, a centre-back is certainly more of a requirement than Dele Alli. And on the subject of centre-backs, we know one centre-back that Tottenham are looking at the moment is, of course, Benfica's Ruben Dias. reports that there's a £100 million release clause in his contract, but because of certain circumstances with Benfica missing out on Champions League football and the financial impact of the lockdown recently, they could be forced into selling him. Of course, represented by Jorge Mendes, a long-time associate of Jose Mourinho. What do you make of Ruben Dias?
I mean, I love Ruben Dias as a player. I'm not sure if you saw, but a few days ago, me and my brother did a video announcing the Bale and Reguilon deals, and I mentioned on the video that I think if we were to bring in Weghorst and Ruben Dias, that would be an absolute perfect window for us. I think if we bring in Ruben Dias, I think he automatically becomes potentially the best centre-back in the squad straight away, and I think he can form a great partnership with whether it be Toby, Dyer or Sanchez. I think he can form a great partnership with all of them. Also, it does remain to be seen if he is going to slot straight into the Premiership. Maybe there'll be a bedding in period. But in terms of quality, I think there's not many centre-backs of his age or younger that can come and slot in straight away.
I just can't see the price. I really can't see it.
They're going through financial problems.
I know, but there's one thing dropping from 100 to like 60, but there's nothing dropping from like 100 to like 30, which is what we want to pay. So it was like, I can't see us, unless we get a big amount of money from Dele Alli, I can't really see us shelling out that amount of money on a centre-back.
Unless you do like instalments or something like that, like, you know, Pepe's deal for Arsenal or something like that, where you just pay staggered amounts over a certain amount of years.
I mean, look, obviously I love it, but I've got the feeling that we're not looking to pay more than 30 million for someone like for a new centre back, and that's why I think cheaper options are probably more likely.
I tell you what, though, if we do bring in a cheaper option and they don't turn out to be that good, then there's literally no point in bringing one in, because we've got average centre backs in the squad. We need a world class centre back. That's what we need.
Of course, look, I want him. Of course, I want him. Of course, I wanted to bring him in.
I know what you're saying.
But I can't see Levy showing out the money Benfica want. Maybe Benfica really are strapped for cash and it comes late into the window and they would be willing to accept a low offer or instalments or whatever it is. But at this moment in time, I see it as being a very unlikely deal to happen. Unfortunately, it's a shame. But I can't see they asking for 180 million. I can't see them dropping as significantly as we want them to drop. I can't see it.
You know, it kind of comes back to what we've been hearing for the majority of the window, that we do need to sell players in order to get players in. And we get a bit onto departures a little later. But as well, you mentioned Wout Weghorst. For me, as the same as he, centre-back and striker, I think Diaz and Weghorst would be the best option. So Weghorst, 6'6" striker, playing with Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga, not right up there at the top, but his return, 16 goals in 31 league games last season. He can be a bit of a purple patch player, but he definitely has that quality. And I think as far as in terms of the leagues you'd want to sign players from, I think Bundesliga is right up there in terms of quality. It's certainly up there with the Premier League, and I think he could do well settling into the Premier League. He's a Jose type player, you know, big, he's troublesome, he's a nuisance to defenders. I think it would be brilliant to get him in. What do you think on that as well?
Yeah, I think he's the perfect plan B. He is. That's exactly what we need. Someone to come on, offer something a bit different to what we have, similar to when we had Llorente, you know, just come on, stick him up there, play the ball up top to him so he can beat anyone in the air with that height. And I really think his goal return proves that he can do it. And, you know, like you said, Bundesliga, probably throughout Europe, the most similar to the Premier League. So I think he's one that we should really, really be seriously looking at. But again, they're looking for 30, 35 million. So is that one that we're going to be spending that much money on?
Yeah, I think it's more, that one's more likely. I reckon we're more likely to drive the price down from 35 to something we're more willing to pay than
20, 25.
Exactly, rather than driving it from 100 to like 30. In terms of Weghorst's goal scoring record, it isn't just last season as well. Season before that, he also got 17 league goals, and season before that for AZ Alkmaar, he got about 17 league goals as well. So he's done it over a consistent period. The only thing I would be kind of worried about is he is 28 years old and he hasn't had too many caps for Holland up front, and then, you know, Vincent Janssen I think has had more caps than him. So why that is the case, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe, you know, do Holland not rate him or whatever. Obviously, I know they have Luke de Jong, who's been pretty good for them. But at 28 years old, if he was that good, you expect him to have a few more international caps than 4, which is a bit of a worrying sign. But I think all the signs are there for what he can give to us. I think he's got the physical build, he's got the makeup, he's got the right profile for what we want and what we need, and especially, as you say, it'll be a really good plan B for late in games to be lumping the ball up and, you know, him holding it up and winning headers and stuff like that. And especially in Europa League ties, especially in group stage games where we need to give Kane a rest, he's a more than adequate backup to come in for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's interesting to look at the kind of transfer approach that we're taking this season. I think one of the main things Pochettino, in hindsight, did get wrong at Tottenham was that balance between kind of youth and experience. It just wasn't right. I think we had too much young players in that squad to like go on and looking to win things. But Mourinho bringing in young players like Reguilon, bringing in obviously Gareth Bale, and if now our two next options are going to be a young centre back in Diaz and an experienced striker in Weghorst, I think he is really looking for that balance in his transfer approach, which is absolutely sensational. But moving on to departures, I know we were talking about this on your Bale returns transfer show the other day, and Serge Aurier is one that's cropped up in the media again the last couple of days. Sky Sports reporting that Spartak Moscow are confident they can complete a deal for him before the end of the window. I know you're saying you wouldn't like to see this happen, but on this update, what do you think?
Again, look, I wouldn't like to see it happen. If we sell Serge Aurier, we're stuck in the same position as we were last season with the right back situation. Yeah, Matt Doherty's come in, and that's great. Albeit he hasn't pulled up any trees yet in his 3 performances. I think that Serge Aurier needs to be in this squad fighting for that position with Matt Doherty. The right back position needs to be heavily contested. Otherwise, we're going to go into the season with one fully recognised right back, and it's exactly the same situation as we had last season. I mean, Doherty's looking leggy already, so I mean, we need someone else in there. And Tanganga's injured, and he's not even a proper right back.
Exactly. I agree. Jose continually says we need 2 players in each position, fighting for each spot to have that internal competition. And I know Aurier, we all know about Aurier, what his shortcomings are, but I honestly believe for the money we would get in for him, I can't see us getting too many better fullbacks than him and what he can give. I know he's always good for giving away a penalty or whatnot, but I think generally he's actually not too bad. Obviously, it's those moments in games where he lapses in concentration and things like that, which really cost you and cost the team when he gives away stupid fouls and stuff like that. But I think in most games he's okay, and I think if he's competing with someone like Matt Doherty, maybe it could bring the best out of him. And I really don't see the point in selling him for like 20 million and then either scrambling around for another right back to replace him, which I don't think we can for that amount of money, or being short again. So for me, it doesn't make too much sense. I know maybe Levy wants to kind of balance the books a bit, but for me, it's one I'll stay away from.
I know everyone likes to dig into Serge Aurier, but I think Serge Aurier has actually made a scapegoat more times out than he's not, because I think he contributed positively to the season last year. I thought he was one of our better players. Every time he makes a mistake, it gets polarized completely. Everyone just focuses on that, and no one focuses on the good things that he does. He created a brilliant outlet for us on the right-hand side last year. Yes, he makes his mistakes. Yes, he has his flaws. We all know about them. But to be backup right back, I think he's more than good enough and probably the best backup right back in the Premier League.
And I thought part of the problem as well is because he was the only one. So we had to play him every single time. Rain or fall, whatever happened, we had to play him. And so it's hard to continue to play every single game when such a demanding position like right back. And of course, mistakes are going to creep into your game. And he's also going to have that comfort that he's not going to lose his place. So I think with this internal competition, with Doherty rotating with him, it could bring the best out of Serge, I'm hoping. Yeah. But obviously, if we sell him, that'll just be silly.
Yeah, but it'll be Levy's decision and not Jose's. That's the thing, because Jose wants him in the squad.
Yeah,
of course it would. We'll probably keep Foyth and sell Serge and keep Foyth as backup right back or something.
Yeah, of course, Foyth even potentially on the way out. I know Fulham are interested in him. But aside from those positions, there are still a number of other players that look like they could potentially be on the way out. Paulo Gazzaniga hasn't even made it onto the bench this season, which has been a big surprise for me. I think it's strange that Hart is second choice goalkeeper. I think Villa were a team interested in him, but of course signed Emi Martinez now. I doubt they'll be signing him. Eric Lamela, another name being touted as a potential departure for Tottenham this season. Are there any other players you can see leaving the club?
Well, you got Danny Rose is obviously going to be on his way out at some point.
Carter Vickers as well. Carter Vickers is due to leave big time. I mean, he needs to go. There's no reason for him to be at Tottenham anymore, to be honest. Yeah. Anyone else for you?
Anyone else? I can't really see too many, unless we maybe cancel Jedson's loan or something, because he hasn't really been involved at all really this season. Even Europa League game, he wasn't even in the squad. So whether he has a future at Tottenham remains to be seen. I do think we have a lot of central midfielders. I can't really see him getting that many minutes, to be honest, even in a second string team. But other than that, the problem for me is with Lamela and Dele. I wouldn't sell both of them. I'd like to keep at least one of them around, because then maybe you could be leaving yourself a bit short. But other than that, yeah, I think those are the players.
The one question mark I would like to raise is Lucas Moura, to be honest, because now we've brought in Bale. Lucas Moura is going to see a lot less game time, assuming Bale's going to be fit, a lot less game time. And when he does play on that right-hand side, he doesn't contribute attacking-wise enough. 4 goals and 4 assists or something. And
last season,
it's just not good enough for someone on that right-hand side. Especially we got Son, we got Kane, and now we got Bale.
And
Bergwijn. I don't see where Lucas Moura... I know Jose loves him, but I don't see how he can keep starting consistently with that output.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Lucas is definitely a question mark that does need to be raised. I think since that big night in Amsterdam, all he's really had since is that hat-trick against Huddersfield, which came a few weeks after that. So certainly a number of players that could be leaving. Just to mention to you as well, in the last couple of minutes, it has just been confirmed tonight's game has been postponed.
Exactly. Now.
Yeah, it's confirmed just on Sky Sports there. There's no mention of any date that it will be on, but concerning for Tottenham with this hectic calendar that they do have. Pardon?
Postponed is confirmed, not cancelled.
Yeah, postponed, not cancelled. So it's concerning for Tottenham in the coming weeks with the hectic calendar. We do already have potentially another game coming up there having to be rescheduled. But just finally, what are your hopes and expectations for the season ahead?
Now we've made these signings, I think I think right now I would probably say it's an 8 out of 10. If we get a centre-back 9 and then a striker 10 out of 10. So I think this could be our best transfer window ever, like literally ever. So assuming that we do get these centre-back and striker in, I think we can mount a serious top 4 challenge. I think we're better than Arsenal by far. I think we're better than Man United. And I think that we could be better than Chelsea. Chelsea are going to need a lot of time to settle in their players. Kai Havertz not looking good at the moment. Yeah. I think Frank Lampard's under serious pressure this year. So I actually think we can finish 3rd this year and a few cups along the way, maybe a Europa League or an FA or a Carabao Cup, something like that. So I'm going to go for third place in the league and one of the cups.
Yeah, I think 4th place in the trophy is exactly where we need to be aiming for this season to really have a successful season. We need to break that trophy duck, as everyone knows about. Sorry, and I think top 4 is not within the realms of possibility. Obviously, United, if they continue to struggle on the transfer market like it looks like they're doing at the moment, Sancho is not going to happen, I don't think. So if they give up on that one, I don't know who they bring in to play on that right wing like they want to. So I think they're definitely vulnerable to being overtaken. And I think any of the trophies, any of the domestic trophies, and Europa League as well, are definitely up for grabs for a team and a squad like ours, who I think has required depth now and has required quality to really get over the line. So I think anything but top 4 in a trophy the season will probably be a bit disappointing, in my opinion. Yeah. That's what we got to aim for. And that's why I think we definitely have the squad for it.
And having said that, the only way I accept not coming inside the top 4 is to win the Europa League. That's the only way I accept it.
Yeah. It's all about getting back into that Champions League, big in terms of, obviously it's where we want to be, it's where we deserve to be, but in terms of attracting players and recruitment and things like that, I think is very important. Don't be the same as I think top 4 and a trophy is the least we should be asking for this season.
Having said that, we attracted Gareth Bale in the Europa League, so
we certainly did. Yeah, strange that we couldn't get Dybala and Fernandes with the Champions League, then without getting Bale as soon as we drop out of it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure as always. I'm not sure there's many people watching on my channel who haven't already subscribed to ye, but if you haven't, go over and check out WeAreTottenhamTV, and we'll leave a link to them down in the description below, doing some outstanding stuff. Brilliant watch-alongs for games, so make sure to go and check those out as well. If you can't watch the games yourself. And as for me, if you do want more transfer videos, match previews, reviews, and general Tottenham analysis videos, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload. I have some more big collabs coming in the next couple of weeks, so if you do want those, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video so I know you're enjoying them. And as always,